Hey guys, it's Loves to Loom here, and today I'm going to be doing things just a little bit differently than I normally do. Here in front of me I have some designs as well as variations from Suzanne HB, also on Instagram as Crazy Just Might Work. Please give her a follow. She has some amazing designs if you did not already know that. You can check out my page for previous tutorials that I have done for her on her awesome designs, so definitely do that. As far as the designs here today, I have a piece of the original Turbolaser, which is the one I'm holding. So this is like a bigger bracelet. Then the completed one I have here is actually the mini version of the Turbolaser. This one's only done on 4 pins. This one's done on 6. These also are 2 variations of the Turbolaser. This one was kind of meant to look like a spiral. So if you keep turning and follow the dots, they do go all the way down the bracelet. And then this one here is kind of just, dots going all around the entire bracelet. This one here is the Millenium Falcon. I guess this could be considered a variation as well, but she did give it its own name. It does look quite different than the other ones, but all those similar too. So anyhow, today what I'll do is I'll be just showing you a couple minutes of each design so that you know how to make each one in case you like one more than the other. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get this started. To make this bracelet and any of the variations, you need 1 loom, 1 C-clip per bracelet, and 1 hook. For any of the designs or variations that I'm going to show you today, you need to remove the middle bar pin, have the 2 outside bar pins aligned like so, and facing in the right direction. For the first design that I'm going to show you, which is the Turbolaser, I'll be using these 6 pins in the shape of a square right there. And let's go ahead and get started with laying the bands. So if you're familiar with the mutant hexafish, we're going to be laying it the same exact way. We're going to lay the 2 vertical bands and then we'll fill in the centers here. So the very first layer, we need to double loop a single band. So you can just double loop it around your fingers. And then just stretch it from these 2 pins. And we're going to do the same on the right side. And now we need to fill in the centers, as I call them. So just double loop all of them and fill those in. So it's like you're making like an outline of a box, is what it should look like when you're done. Alrighty. So now that we've done that, push your bands down quite a bit because we're going to just add another layer on, but you don't want to get them confused with the bottom layer since I'm using the same color. So now taking our single bands, just laying them regular, no double looping or anything, we're going to do that same outline. So I always like to lay my vertical first. I just think it helps it look a little bit neater. Then I do my top 2 and my bottom 2. Excuse me, like that. So now we need to take the bottom bands and loop them up and over, but just be very careful not to get them mixed up with the top layer. So this first time that we loop the bottoms up and over, there's going to be 4 bands since they were double capped. Lost focus. There we go. So just grab the 2 bottom bands, bring them up, or 4 bottom bands, bring them up and over. Do the same on the middle. I don't know why I'm losing focus. Sorry about that. We're going to do this on all 6 pins. So I did those 3. I'm going to turn my loom around. And we're going to do that same exact thing on this side. So just grab the 4 bottom bands and bring them over. Now this one is going to get a little bit tricky. See how it's pushed up? So just make sure you're grabbing the right bands. For this one, I'm just going to grab the top 2, bring it over, and then grab the bottom 2 and bring that over. Do the same thing on this one. It's kind of mixed in, so just be careful there. you should have 2 bands left at the top. So just make sure you don't accidentally bring them up and over. Okay, so there we have like our base. I guess you could say we did our double bands and then 1 layer, and now we're going to add 1 more layer before we start laying the cap bands. So we're just going to do that step 1 more time. So laying my 2 vertical and my middles. We're going to do the same thing again. We're going to bring the bottom bands up and over, but this time there's only 2 bands on the bottom pins. So just grab the 2 bands, bring them up and over on all of them. Repeat the same process on the back side. Only grabbing 2 bands. I'm going to turn my loom back around. So now that we've done that, we actually need to add on our cap bands. We're going to add a triple cap band, just 1 triple cap band onto each one of these pins for this design. So I'm going to use pink for my first layer. It doesn't matter how you do it as long as it is on there 3 times. So 1, 2, 3. Sorry if my hands get in the way a little bit. And I have 1 more to add. Alright. So now I have my triple cap band on each pin. And now we need to add another layer on top. So what we're going to do is outline it in the shape of a box again. So I'm going to lay my 2 vertical and then my horizontal. Whoops. So it should look like that. We have our top layer in the shape of a square, our cap bands in the middle, and then our bottom band. So there's 2 on the bottom. So now what we're going to do is loop the very bottom white band up and over first. So just grab the 2 bottom white bands and bring them up and over. Do that on each pin. Turn it around and do it on the back side as well. Turn my loom back around. I'm just going to push it down just a little bit so I don't lose any bands for this next step. So I did go ahead and change my lighting a little bit. Hopefully it's not too dark, but I just felt like I had such a glare. I felt like you guys maybe were going to have a hard time seeing the bands. So hopefully this isn't like too dark now. So the last thing we did was looped the bottoms up and over, and now we need to bring our cap bands up and over. So just make sure you don't miss any pins. Just grab the entire cap band, which is 3 bands because it's triple capped, and just bring that over. Doing the same on this pin and on the right one. Be careful not to accidentally slide your white bands off. Turn your loom around. We're going to do the same thing on this side. Just grab the entire triple cap band, bringing it up and over. Like so. Alright, sorry guys, I have to mess with my light again. It's just, my camera's acting crazy today. Alright, so now that we have laid our cap band and looped them, now we're going to add on just another like outline. So the pattern is going to be, so we just looped our cap bands, and then we're going to lay a layer and loop it, and then we add cap bands on that layer. So basically you're adding the cap bands every other time for this design. So just lay your border again like this. And now we're going to loop the bottom up and over. There should be 2 bands. Turn it around and do the back side. Push it down, and now we're going to add on our cap band again. So I'm going to use red this time. So make sure it's triple looped. We're just adding that 1 single cap band on all 6 pins. Okay. Push that down, and now we're going to add the border on top of it. So we have our top border, our cap bands, and our 2 bottom bands. So before we do anything with the cap bands, we need to loop the bottoms up and over. So make sure you're grabbing 2 bands and bringing them up and over. Do the same on the back side. And now we're going to bring the cap bands over. So just grab the entire triple cap band and bring it over. Do the same on each pin. Do the same on the back side. I'm just going to work from the back this time. And what you can do, what I do when I'm making it, is I kind of just go like this and like roll the cap band with my fingers, just so it's like nice and neat. It just helps it look a little bit cleaner. And you know how you get that, like if you look here how it's like crossing over, you want to be able to see that part because you don't want it on the outside of your band so it doesn't look like messy. So yeah. So push it down, and we're going to do that all over again. So remember, every other time is when we do the cap band. So we'll lay a layer without putting the cap band on. And now we'll loop the 2 bottom bands up and over. Do the same on the back side, grabbing only 2 bands. And so that was our 1 layer. And now we're going to add our cap bands on this time. So just add your cap bands onto each one of the pins. Triple looping. I have to turn it so I can get it on here. Okay, so we have our triple cap band on each pin, and we're going to do the border again. Just completely outlining your box or square. once again, we're going to loop the bottom bands up and over. Don't forget to do the back side. I'm just reaching around the back, bringing the 2 bands up and over. And now come back to the beginning and grab your cap band. Bringing that over on all 6 pins. And now that we've done that, you'll add another layer of your border bands or outline bands. And remember this, since we just looped the cap bands on the last time, this layer we don't put any on because we do every other time. Just loop the bottom bands up and over. Do the back side as well. And now this time we add the cap bands. So it really is easy. You're just doing every other time with the cap bands. After the cap bands, once again, we're going to lay the outline. Like so. And now we'll loop the bottom white bands up and over. Do the back. So my camera cut off on me. I'm having one heck of a day here. Sorry about that once again. But so I did just loop all the bottoms. So now we need to loop the cap bands up and over. Just make sure you never leave like one of the cap bands on. I've done that where I've thought I had it all over but left one band. So make sure you're grabbing the entire cap band. And that is literally all you do. You'll see it start growing here out the bottom. You can just give it a nice pull. At the end, if it looks a little messy, you can definitely fiddle around with it. But once again, the one I'm showing you right now is this one, which is the original Turbolaser. So that's all you do. You just lay the outside square or box layer bands, and then you lay your cap bands, then you lay your border again, loop it, and then you lay your cap band. So every other time is when you do the cap band. So I think that's definitely easy enough. Obviously I only have a little tiny piece made, but for this design I want to show you how to close it up so I can show you how to do the the variations. So to close this one up, what you would do is just take a single band, and of course I know you need time to finish your design, so you can certainly just hit pause and come back to see how to close it. But take one single cap band, stretch it across these bottom 3 pins down here, and you're going to do the same. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry, I should have told you. As you can see, the last thing I did was loop my cap bands. So you want to do at least 2 more layers. So do the outline, loop it, do the outline again, and loop it before you do this step. Just so that you don't have your cap bands at the very, very bottom. You want to have a little bit of white, like that. So just lay 2 layers without the cap bands, and then do the part I'm showing you now, which is to lay these on like this. And now we're going to loop the bottom bands up and over. There should be 2 bands coming up and over. Turn it around. Grab the 2 bands, bring it up and over on all 3 of these. Turn your loom back around. And now we're going to stretch these back bands down to the front here. So starting on the left, I'm going to bring that, or the right, I'm going to bring that down to this bottom right. Grabbing the middle, be careful not to lose these bands. Use your finger to hold them down. Grab the left side, bring that forward. So now we have 2 bands on all of our bottom pins down here. We're going to take 1 more single band and we're going to stretch it across all those 3. And now we're going to bring the bottom 2 bands up on these pins. Like so. And now we can add the 2 outside ones into the middle. So remove that from the pin, bring it into the middle, and do the same on the left side. Like that. This has 3 bands, 3 bands. And this is where we're going to add our C-clips. So slide your hook down in there like that. And just pop your C-clip on. Then you can remove it from the pin. Yours, of course, will be a lot longer than what I have right here. And that closure gives it a nice tight closure. And then, of course, like I said, yours will be a lot longer. You would just come down to the end here. You can see there's many bands you can pull from. You can even grab like the 2 outside bands here and the 2 outside bands on this side. And you can use those to hook, or you can even grab from the inside here. I think there's a couple bands on the inside you can grab. So basically whatever's like kind of sticking out, you can just grab onto and just hook your C-clip onto that. This is probably too short to try. It's going to look goofy, but so that's an example. But anyway, so there you have the Turbolaser design. For the mini Turbolaser, it is the exact same thing, except instead of using 6 pins and making that square, you're only going to use 4. So I'll just quickly show you that. And you grab your, so again I'm showing you the mini version now. So on these 4 you just grab a single white band, you double it, stretch it across that pin there, double your single band again, stretch it there to there, and now you got to do your middle. So do that 2 more times. Just like that. And just like we did the first time with the original, you need to lay your border 2 times before we lay our cap bands to get started. So we have our double cap bands, and then this we're laying now will be our first layer. Now we're going to bring the bottom up and over, so there should be 4 bands on the bottom. Bring all 4 of those up and over. It's kind of hard to see this side. Okay. So just make sure you're only grabbing 4 of them. I'm going to do these 2 right here first, get them out of the way, and now grab these 2. Alright, so just like that. Now we're going to do that one more time before we do our cat band. So we're just going to outline it. Like that. And now we'll bring the bottom 2 bands, because now it's only going to be 2, and just bring them up and over on all 4 pins. I don't know what's going on with my voice today. I feel very scratchy. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. Alright, so now that we've done that, just like we did on the original, we're going to do our triple cat bands, but this time we only need to put it on 4 pins. Making sure you're wrapping it around 4 or 3 times. Just like that. Now that we have our cat bands on, remember we need to outline it again. I'm running low on my white bands. So now we need to bring the bottom 2 bands up and over again. So bring them up and over on all 4 pins. And now you can bring up and over the cat band. So make sure you get all 3 of those. Just like that. Like I mentioned before, you can kind of fiddle with it to make sure it's nice and neat looking. Push that down. Now we are going to add our layer without adding the cat band. And we're going to loop the bottoms again. Like so. Now we need to add our cat bands on, since it's the next layer. So wrap that around 3 times. Like that. And we're going to add our border on our outline again. Loop the bottoms up and over. So if you can do the bigger version, you can certainly do this version, because it's much easier. It's exactly the same, except you're using less pins. Like that. So that's how you create the smaller version. Super duper easy. It'll just start going at the bottom just like the other one did, as you can see. And this one here is actually easier to clip because for the C-clip, because it has the bands right there in the middle. So to close this one up, it's actually a little bit easier. All you're going to do is grab the bottom right corner and bring that forward. Or it might actually be easier to bring it. I'll start in the back here so you can see. Doesn't matter which way you take it, but so you can see, I'm going to grab the back one and bring it forward. Bring the back one here and bring it forward. Like that. And now I am going to add just one single band. And now you can just bring all 4 of these up and over like that. If you need to grab 2 at a time, 3 at a time, as long as you get all 4 up and over. And then you just bring one side to the other And this is where you will apply your C-clip. So you just, I'm not going to do it because I don't want to waste the C-clip, but you just pop your C-clip right onto there, give it a pull, and then that'll be your small mini version of the Turbolaser. So there you have that one. I love that one. So now I'm going to quickly show you, if I can find it, how to make the spiral effect one, which is this one here. This is the mini version. This is done exactly how we were just doing this one that I just took off. So it will be on 4 bar pins as well. So for this one, I did already lay the outline. For any of these variations, you're going to start it the same way. The first layer, you want a single band double looped around, outlining the entire box. So I already have the first layer laid. So it's just one single band double looped around all 4 of these. So once you do that, for this variation, I like to only lay 1 layer before laying my first cap band. So all the other ones we do 2. This one I just like to do 1. So this is like the spiral variation. So for this one it might be a little easier if I turn my loom like this. So for this one I'm gonna go ahead and add on my first layer. So you're just gonna outline it like we've been doing. So lay all 4 like that. Once again, we're going to need to loop the bottom layer up and over. So the first time it will be 4 bands. So grab all 4 of those. Loop them up. Alright, so like I said, we're only doing 1 layer for this variation. So for this one, the only thing that we do, we add 1 triple cap band at a time. So for instance, I'm going to add a triple cap band on here, and then we're going to lay our border and loop it all up, and then I'll go here, do the same thing, and then go here. So basically you're just going to keep switching where you're putting your cap band. So the first time I'm going to start here, and it doesn't really matter where you start, but this is where I start, in the top right corner. So put your triple cap band on, only 1 of them up here, and this one's super easy. Outline your rectangle or your box. And now, just like before, we need to bring the bottom layer up and over. So grab the bottom 2 bands. Bring them up and over on all 4 pins. And now we need to bring this 1 cap band up. So just grab the whole cap band and bring it up. Like that. Push your bands down. And now we are going to add a cap band to this one. So add your cap band on to this pin. Remember, it's looped triple times. And then do your border again. And now we're going to bring the bottom bands up and over on all 4 pins. And remember, there's 2 on each pin. And now we can go ahead and bring this cap band up here. Just like that. And now, before we add our next layer, remember you have to add a cap band onto this pin. So unlike the other bracelets, we add the outline on and then add the cap band. But this one, after you loop and add the cap band, you have to add, or after you loop the cap band, you have to add another cap band on, but on the next pin. So it is really easy. You're just going to keep moving it and just keep going in that rotation. So now bring your bottom band up and over again on all 4 pins. And then bring over that cap band. Now add a cap band on that top left one. And put your outline on again. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning, there's so many different ways that you can play with this design. For instance, the one I'm doing right now, I think would look good with, because it's single cap bands, but if you doubled the cap bands and did 2 of them, like this one here has 2, so it makes like the dots bigger. I think that would look super cute on this design. So you can certainly mess around with it a lot of different ways. And then bring the cap band up like so. So you literally just keep repeating that same process. So like I just looped that cap band. So now I need to add one over here. Lay my borders. Loop the bottom bands. And bring the bottom over. And then go to here, and then here, and here. So I'm pretty sure you guys have picked up on that. Super duper easy. You close it the exact same way that you close the regular, or excuse me, the mini Turbolaser that I just showed you. So it's super duper easy. I am now going to show you, I'm just going to keep this on here because it's the same layout. I'm going to show you this version. But first I'm going to lay this because I want to start fresh. But for the next version of the Turbolaser, this is also a mini, so it's done on the 4 pins as well, just like we're working with now. You start with the same layout like you've done all the other ones. You do the double loop around all of the squares, or all of the pins, and then you lay 1 layer of white like we did with this one, going around, you know, outlining it, and then it would look like this, but just act like my bottom's not there. So here's my first layer, and for this one what we do is we add it on opposite ends, and we keep switching. So we'll add the 2 on here, and then we'll switch and add the 2 on here, and we'll just keep going back and forth. So I'm going to do these 2 first, and for this one we're actually going to use 2 triple cap bands, and it makes a bigger difference. Instead of it being like that small dot, it looks bigger like I just showed you. And the same as all the others, you have to put your, your border on. I don't know why I call it border, because it's really not a border. But you know what I mean. So now we bring the bottom up and over on all 4 pins. And now you bring the cap bands over. Now for this one, since there is 2 double cap bands, you need to stick your hook in here. And it doesn't really matter if you're getting 1 cap band at a time. If you want to do it that way, just separate them like I did right here. And then you can just stick it in and grab that whole cap band and bring it over and then come back, grab the second one, and bring that over. You definitely want to do this rolling motion when you have more than one, just to kind of bunch them together. Or you can just stick it in, and it doesn't matter how many you grab. Just put it in, grab as many as you get, and then go in again and just bring the rest. Really doesn't matter, it comes out the same. So we've done those two. And let me see. Okay, just had to double check. So we did those two, and now we do these two. We have to put them on before we put the border on. So add your triple cap band on twice to the opposite pins that you used before. So since I did it on these two before, I'm now going to do it on these two. Like so. And then lay your outline. Oh my goodness, I'm going to have rubber bands all over. I have a band just laying here, so I'm just going to break it off. Alright, so once again, oh, and this is what I was explaining earlier, make sure you don't leave any of the band, and I did there. So you get to see me fix that. I have to actually take this off for a second and just loop that over. Now I can put that back on. Okay. So once again, we're just going to bring the bottom two bands up and over. Very repetitive. Make sure you're not grabbing any of the cap band. And now we can bring our cap bands over. So I'm just going to grab as many as I can and bring the rest over. Doing the same back here. Like that. Push that down. Now we're going to have to add our cap bands onto these sides again. This is going to be a super long video, I know that, but I'm sure you guys will fast forward once you catch on how to make it. Alright, so we have our two cap bands on the opposite pins now, and if you ever forget, I mean, it's really hard to forget, but if you do forget which pins you did last, I mean, obviously you see the two were here, so then you'll know that you have to add them there. I was trying to bring too many up. So that's all you do. You just keep alternating. And that's how you come up with that one. So just keep doing that. So that's that one. You close that one up the same as you do the mini as well. So you can watch those instructions for that closure. You just bring these two over to this one. And then lay your single band and bring the bottoms up. But I did an actual recording of it. So just rewind it to see that. And lastly, the Millenium Falcon is what I want to show you. So that would be this one. This is the one of the bigger ones, and this is probably, I would say, out of all of these, the hardest. Only because the white on here is 3 triple cap bands, so it can be a little hard and tight to get on there. And then the number of layers in between is 5. I think I actually did one extra by accident on this one. This one was right, but the rest were kind of big. But anyway, so once again, we're going to literally do the same thing. I'm going to use color this time, that we did with the first Turbolaser, the original. We're going to take a single cap band, or a single band, double cap it on your fingers, and we're using 6 pins for this. So we're back to the 6 pins, and just outline your box or square. Like that. And just like the other ones, you want to have some space, so we're going to lay a couple layers. This one actually, we're going to lay 5 or 4 layers, so that we have like this space down here before we lay the cap band. So we're going to do that outline 4 more times. And I actually meant to lay the vertical first, and I didn't. Doesn't make a huge difference, but it does make it look a little nicer. So now we're going to bring the bottom 4 bands up and over like we did on the other ones. The first one is the only time there's going to be 4 bands since we double looped them. Okay, I need to remove this because it's kind of getting in my way. Alright, so there you have that. So that was, we have our base, and then we laid 1 layer, so I need to lay a couple more. Okay, so I did just go off camera and did that quickly. I laid the 4 layers that I needed to. So we have, including this top layer, we actually have a total of 5 because we laid the double loop bands on the bottom, and then I added 4 more outlines. So this would actually be my 5th on top here. But if you're not counting the double loop bands that we laid, this would be my 4th. So now we need to loop the bottom bands. Or no, wait. Yeah, we do. Sorry. So loop the bottom bands up and over the 5th layer. And now we need to add triple cap bands on all of our 6 pins, but we need to add 3 of them to each. So this one takes a little more time and patience. So one way that you can do it is how we have been doing it, which would be to just put it on your pin, wrap it 3 times, and you need to push it down as far as you can go because it's going to get kind of squished here. Adding my 2nd one, pushing that down, and adding my 3rd one, making sure they're all triple capped. Push it down. And then you can do that on all of the pins. Another way you can do it is using your hook, which I'm not a big fan of this, but I want to give you the option. If you have a smaller crochet hook, that definitely works better, but this will work too for this, the regular hook. So you can triple loop them, 3 of them, and have them all on your pin like I do. And then you need to remove it from the pin like this, but you have to kind of pull and give it tension, and then you can just slide them down like that. But see, that's not good. Hold on, I lost a band. Alright, so I fixed that band that I lost and switched to my regular hook because with that one being little, I think I'm going to lose the bands too much and I don't want to risk that. So, I have my 3 triple cap bands on my regular rainbow loom hook, removing the bands from the pin, and then you need to keep pulling it with your right hand to give this tension, and then you can just slide your cap bands on. It's kind of hard to do it while filming. So that's how you can do it, and then you place this back on like that. So that's another way you can do it, but if you do it this way, you actually have to lay the border first, because okay, so I did go ahead off camera to just get them all on my pins like so. So just make sure you have your triple cap bands, 3 of them on each pin here. And then I'm going to now switch colors, and we have to just lay our outline again. That's why I said you got to make sure you really push down on your bands. Oh wait, what am I doing? I'm laying them the wrong way. Because you need room to lay this top layer. So the only difference with the Millenium Falcon is that they're triple cap bands, or there's 3 triple cap bands opposed to 1, and then we lay 4 layers, and like after laying the 4th layer, you do the cap bands again. Whereas the first Turbolaser, you do the cap bands every other time. So now that we've done that, and I totally only have 2 on that one. So after you do that, I'm going to fix this while I talk. We need to bring the bottom bands up and over. And I know I'm out of focus, but I'm just fixing this anyway. Okay, so we got to bring the bottom up and over. So just grab the very bottom 2 bands. Do not grab any of your cap band, and just bring that over. It is snug because you got to get over all of those cap bands. Turn it around and do the same on the other side. Like that. And now we need to bring over our cap bands. So we're going to do the same thing that we did the last version or variation that I showed you. You're just going to stick your hook in towards the top, grab a couple bands, bring it over, do the same thing. So I actually grabbed a lot there. I usually do it in 3 steps. So I'll usually grab a few at the top. And then bring that over, come back in, grab a couple more, and then grab the remainder. And then I fix it so that it's not all messy. So this one definitely takes more time than the other ones. You definitely need to have a lot more patience to make this bracelet, that's for sure. And now my last one. You don't want to grab too many at once because you might end up popping this top layer off. I'm going to just back it up for a second. Okay. So now is when you want to try to fix them so you don't have to really worry about it as you loop. So there you have that. And now, from this point, once you loop them over like that, now you have to do 4 layers again. So after you get done laying the 4th layer is when you will put those cap bands on again. But I wanted to show you another way that you can put the cap bands on. So if you do it the way that I'm getting ready to show you, okay, so I'm trying not to sound confusing, but we put these white cap bands on the 4th layer that we laid. But if you do it the way I'm going to show you right now, you would do it on the 5th layer. So like you would have to have the top on just like this. But you'd have to have it looped. So I'm probably sounding so confusing. I'm going to try to re-say that. So act like we did not put these whites here. This would be my 5th layer that I just laid, and then you want it looped like that. And then, so pretending that these whites aren't there, we just got done looping our 5th layer of bands. You would grab your hook, and you can do it this way. Get them all 3 on your hook. I'm just not a big fan of doing it from the hook to the bands, but I want to give you the option. So I have 3 triple cap bands on my hook, and then after you loop the 5th layer, you would remove it from the pin. Make sure you're pulling on it to give it tension, and then you would just slide the cap bands on very carefully. And then you would place it back on, like that. So if that's easier for you, you can do it that way. So you can either lay them all on, you know, the 4th layer, lay them all on your pins, and then, you know, loop them on. Or you can put them on your hook, take it off of the pin, slide them all on the 5th layer, and then, you know, continue that way. So it's really up to your preference of what you think is easier. But that is all you do for the Millenium Falcon. I need to take these white bands off. So you just lay, I know I've said this a couple times, but I'm going to say it one more time. So you lay your outline 4 times. Then you lay your 3 triple cap bands on each pin. Lay one more outline on top, and then loop them all over. If you're going to do it the way that I just showed you by sliding it from the hook onto the cap band, you lay 5 layers, make sure it's looped, and then, you know, take it off of the pin and slide it all on. And you just keep doing that over and over until you achieve the length that you want, and it will look like this. To close this one up, you do the same thing that you do on the Turbolaser. So you would just stretch it across one single band, take another single band, stretch it across on that side, and then bring the bottoms up and over on all of the pins. Do the same on the back side. So I know I didn't show you, I only showed you one step on this, and that's only because we've done so many variations that I think you guys should definitely be able to make it without any problem. If I am wrong, please comment below so I know that I need to redo it. But I think it's safe to say you guys will pick up on it. And what am I doing? I don't know why I did that. It's been a long day for me. Alright, so after you have looped the bottoms up and over on all of them, we're just going to stretch the top down to the bottom. So grab the top right, bring it down to the bottom. Do the same on the middle, but be careful not to lose any of those bands. Use your pointer finger to kind of hold those bands down. And bring the left side down. Once you're down here, you're just going to stretch one single band across all three of those. And bring the bottom two bands up and over again. And now we're going to bring the bands on the outside into the middle. And then this is where we will slide our C-clip. Push it down into the pin. And wrap your C-clip around all three of those bands. And voila. And obviously it wouldn't be this little, but you would have your completed Millenium Falcon bracelet. But actually, and this was so by accident, this could probably be a charm if you just did one layer. Kind of looks like a ice cream in a way. Huh, would you look at that? Or like a short pencil. I think I just have made an idea. So anyway, that is my tutorial for the variations and the original designs created by Suzanne HB, also on Instagram as Crazy Just Might Work. Check her out, give her a follow. You can stay up to date with all of her latest and cool, awesome designs. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you feel that it was super confusing, please let me know and I will redo it, because I don't usually do it like this. I like completing my bracelets. But just comment below. I would appreciate it. Hopefully you guys can make the bracelets based off of what I showed you today. And if you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button below. And I will see you all at my next video. Thanks, guys. Bye.